friends, my name is Alex, and you're watching Z2GD Dev, a channel that chronicles my journey in learning to make video games with little to no coding, artistic, or design experience. I can't tell you I know what I'm doing, but I'm going to share what I learn along the way. Follow me as I learn hard lessons, waste countless hours, and hopefully build new worlds. Today, I'm going to share my experience going through the Unity Essentials pathway. It's a free 2-week tutorial that will guide you through the first steps in Unity. Right off the bat, I'd venture to say that a week's worth of the allotted 2-week plan is basically Unity propaganda videos. They aren't bad or poorly made, but if your goal is to get the game engine's fundamentals down, they are far more of a hindrance than a blessing. By going to learn.unity.com, you'll find the Unity Essentials pathway. The in-browser based tutorial will help you get the engine installed and recommend trying one of Unity's microgames. In my last episode, I shared my experience with the FPS microgame. If you missed it, it was a blast. But if you haven't checked it out, I would absolutely agree that the microgames are a great launch point for aspiring developers. After that, it's on to your first round of Unity hype videos. No doubt there's some good information peppered throughout the first few lessons, but it all seems more like a sales pitch than a foundation for making games. Though to be honest, I'm not sure who they're marketing to, because they already had me at the $0 price tag. Until you make a game that gets $10,000 in sales, you don't have to pay a dime for the majority of Unity's services. Before you get to that level of success, I believe they can only really profit off you by selling Unity assets. And I feel like they already tried to pull a shady move at the end of the FPS game tutorial that I went through. They very conveniently stopped the tutorial at the Unity asset storefront and lightly encouraged me to buy a shiny new rifle asset that I could add to my experience, even though if I had bought it, I wouldn't have known what to do with it at the time. Now, to be fair, in this course, they share multiple sources to acquire free 3D assets. I'll go ahead and share some of the links in the description below. As you progress through the tutorial, you'll be instructed to open a new, empty Unity project and create basic 3D objects. You'll go through the motions of scaling, rotating, applying physics and color, grouping things together, duplicating, creating new objects called prefabs that will allow you to edit and place things more effectively. And finally, you'll set light and camera positions. The course mostly covers 3D applications, but I assume the majority of the information translates well to 2D. After a few short lessons, you'll find your first view under the UI hood, writing code, which is called scripting in Unity. Personally, I felt a little nervous starting that segment because the little experience I've had with coding didn't go very well. But I was ready to dive in. The tutorial team once again did an excellent job in breaking down the basics. You learn to scale, rotate, and move your fabricated 3D objects through scripts, and even alter the user interface to make the process more streamlined and flexible. It's actually pretty neat creating and defining your own variables, then having direct control over them as the scene runs. Also, shout out for their ability to be playful while teaching. There's a challenge in the course called The Floor is Lava, where you try to create a path for your falling 3D objects. They should tumble, spin, bounce, and ultimately travel horizontally, while avoiding touching the ground. I took a far too practical approach by creating stairs, but no one's grading me for my creativity during a physics tutorial. Oh yeah, and that thing falling out of the sky, ignore that. That's another project.
Certain death!
Foreshadowing. The next chapter in the Essentials course, or they call them missions in an obvious effort to gamify the experience, is all about audio. And I had a hell of a time with this one. The goal of the experience is to control 3 different audio sources: background music, a looping sound clip tied to a stationary object, and another clip attached to a moving object, allowing the player to create a Doppler effect. The background music was a simple process, but I was struggling to get the last 2 sources to cooperate with me. I couldn't figure out how to configure their settings to drop completely off at any distance. They just kept playing. I did manage to overpower them with background music, but that wasn't really the goal. When I came back around to this chapter in my review, I finally applied one of the most important lessons in this tutorial series. Read the comments. If you get lost throughout this process, you aren't alone. The Unity tutorial team does a great job overall, but now and then they drop the ball, and the comment section will get you back on track 90% of the time. I don't know how long I got distracted with every other line, dial, and toggle switch trying to figure out how to stop noises from traveling beyond a point, but there it is right there. Just drag that little line to the bottom and it stops being audible. The next essentials lesson was applying what we learned so far to the 2D environment. Basically do all the same things, but also play with layers and perspective. You drop objects behind one another, play with colliders and physics. In the conclusion of the chapter, they want you to create a cascade of balls falling and bouncing off pegs. I had actually already been inspired to do this on my own in a 3D environment. The execution was a little sloppy because it was one of the first things I decided to make with the engine, but it was a fun little project where I was able to create something neat using only basic 3D objects. Fun side note, if you drop thousands of balls at once, you'll be reminded that both Unity and your computer have limitations. It didn't crash my system, but it's far less interesting to watch something in stop motion. Near the end of your course, you'll be given an overview of production phases and career options. If your dream is to work for a big company and be a part of a massive machine that pumps out AAA titles, I think this information is right up your alley. If you're like me, an indie game studio consisting of one unpaid part-time intern, you might not really be focused on marketing and analytics. Personally, I'm here for a tutorial on the engine, not the industry. I'll worry about monetizing when I have the ability to create something worth monetizing. The final mission in the Unity Essentials tutorial is one I can absolutely get behind. Identify your goals and set an action plan. Do you know what you want to learn? How long do you want the process to take? Set deadlines for yourself and other methods of motivation, because just from my short experience, it's easy to get overwhelmed and distracted with it all. I'm actually a few weeks into the next Unity pathway, which is Junior Programmer, and I see my progression through this course is slowing drastically. I keep getting distracted by a whole bunch of things. Creating a new YouTube channel and diving into that world for the first time has been an absolute time sink. On top of that, I'm spending a lot of time trying to figure out how to create my own game without the proper skills. I see the value in action plans. And while there are mountains in front of me, I hope my dedication and perseverance will hold out. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but I think my core goal is obtainable. Make a game that I want to play and see it on a digital storefront. I don't care if it sells. Hell, I'd be happy to see it on one of the pirate websites. If someone cared enough to steal my first game, I'm going to count that as a win. Thank you for watching. Keep an eye out for my video on the Junior Programmer Unity pathway. It might take a while, but perhaps now that I've completed this vlog, I can get back to the grind. And thank you for watching me go from zero to game dev. I hoped you liked what you saw. If you did, please like and subscribe and hit the bells and whistles. Feel free to share your own experience learning Unity in the comment section below. Okay, love you, bye.